Good morning, students. Today we'll discuss about data mining concepts and techniques. Last class continuations. In the last class, we have discussed about a priori algorithms, the working principles with an examples. Today we'll see how to improve the efficiency of a priori algorithms. So before that, we'll see the a priori algorithm. A priori algorithm is a classical algorithm in data mining. A priori algorithm is an influential algorithm for mining frequent item set for Boolean association rule. It is used for mining frequent item sets and relevant association rules. It uses a prior knowledge of frequent item set properties. It uses k frequent item sets to find k plus 1 item sets. It is devised to operate on database containing a lot of transactions, for instance, items bought by customer in a store. It is also based on three concepts. One is frequent item set, then a priori property, and join operations. The major disadvantages of a priori algorithm is requires many database scan. Here we'll scan our database many times. And the other one is assumes the transaction database is memory resistance. We are always here assumes the transaction database is memory resistant. So because of these two disadvantages, we have to improve the a priori algorithms. So to improve the efficiency of a priori algorithms, there are few methods. First one is hash based technique, then transaction reductions, then partitioning, then dynamic item set counting, then sampling. The first method we'll see hash based techniques. In hash based table technique, hash table is used as a data structure. Okay. In first iteration, it is required to count support of each item set. In second iteration, the efforts are made to enhance execution of a priori by utilizing hash table concepts. Okay. So hash table minimizes the number of items generated in a second iterations. This will help to improve the efficiency of the algorithms, a priori algorithm. In second iterations, two items are generation for every combinations of two items. We map them into diverse bucket of hash table structure and increment the bucket count. Okay. So if the count of bucket is less than minimum support count, we remove them from data sets, candidate sets. Okay. These are all the procedure which is going to be implemented in hash table technique. So with an example, we will see hash table technique. Now we will see the first table. Here we have transaction ID and list of IDs. This is the first database, first table. It's a database table. Here we have number of items. For each and every items item set, we have transaction ID. For example, T1 transaction having item sets I1, I2, I5. T2 transaction having items I2, I4. T3 transaction ID having item set I2, I3. T4 transaction ID having item set I1, I1, I3, like that. We have T9. Okay. So this is a basic database. The basic database, it is a minimum support count is 3. Okay. Minimum support count is 3. And this is going to be converted into C1 table. Okay. C1 table by here in C1 table we are going to take all item set individually and will find support count for each and every item. For example, I1 6 time is occurred in base tables. I2 7 time is occurred in the base table. And I3 6 times, I4 2 times, I5 2 times. Okay, these are all support count, so which is taken from base tables. And next, the hash function is going to be implemented. So before going for hash function, we must know the order. The order of item, it is given the down. Okay. Order of item equal to I1 equal to 1, I2 equal to 2, I3 equal to 3, I4 equal to 4, and I5 equal to 5. This is the order. It should be maintained over here. I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, and then and minimum support count is 3. So hash function will be implemented with the help of the formula. It is nothing but h x of y equal to order of first into 10 plus order of second into mod 7. The 7 is nothing but prime number. Yeah. Now we will go for the hash function. Here we have 3 columns, like first column is item set, then count, then hash function. In the item set, we have taken 2 items. Okay, so in the C1 we have single items like I1, I2, I3, I4, I5. All the possible combinations with 2 items will be found, and it will be placed in the hash functions like I1, I2, I1, I3, I1, I4, I1, I5, I2, I3, I2, I4, I2, I5, I3, I4, I3, I5, I4, I5. So these are all the possible combinations of 2 item set, which is taken from item set in C1. Again, next, the item set I1, I2, how many times occurred in base table? Okay. It is 4 times. For example, I1, I2 in the database, here we can see T1. In T1 it is occurred, and in T4 it is occurred, then T8 it is occurred, then T9 it is occurred. So totally 4 times it is occurred in the database. So the count is 4. Again, I1, I3. The I1, I3 in the database it is occurred 4 times. With the same combination it is occurred in database 4 times. So the count is 4 over here. Then I1, I4 1 time, I1, I5 2 times, I2, I3 4 times, I2, I4 2 times, I2, I5 2 times. Then I3, I4 there is no combination in the database, so it is 0. Then I3, I5 it is occurring 1 time, so the count is 1. I4, I5 okay, there is no combinations in the database, so the count is 0. Now we will apply hash function. Hash function formula is given here. Order of first, that is order of first is nothing but the item set. We have 2 items. The first item will be taken, then into 10 plus order of second, the second item will be taken here. So the first item order number is, okay, in the down we are given order of items. Okay, so order of item I1 equal to 1, okay, I2 equal to 2. Okay. The down we have given order of items. Okay, the same value will be presented over in the table. Okay, in the hash function table, here we can take first one I1, I2, count is 4. The hash function is 1. 1 is nothing but I1 value in order. Okay, it is given. It is the order of first one. Then into 10 a formula plus okay, 2. 2 is nothing but the second order item. Okay, the value is given down. It is a 2. So that will be given over here. Okay, then mod 7 equal to 5. So if you find the value for 1 into 10 plus 2 into mod 7, then the value will be 5. The same way we'll see in the other one I1, I3. For I1, I3, okay, the count is 4. Then the hash function is I1 is the first number, first order, that value is 1, so given over here, into the 10, it is given in the formula, plus the second order, that is nothing but I3. I3 in the order, the value is 3. So 3 is given over here, okay, into mod 7. So the value is 6. Okay. Same way we will find, okay, all other also. Okay. And here you can see the mod value is nothing but bucket numbers. Okay. So bucket number, now we will tell 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 0. Okay. These are the bucket values. Okay. In this bucket, so in each and every bucket we have a count. So we can take another way. In bucket 5 we have count 4. In bucket 6 we have count 4. In bucket 0 we have count 1. Okay. Here we have 2 bucket zeros. See here, count 1, okay, having 0, and the last I3, I5. Okay. Here also the bucket is 0. So for bucket 0, okay, the count will be 2. Okay. Here is 1, here is another one. So if you see the sum, it is a 2. Okay. So in bucket 0, the count will be 2. Okay. So the same thing will be will present in the other table. Okay. Hash table structure to generate L2. Here we can see, okay, bucket address, bucket count, bucket content and the L2. Okay. So here bucket address is, we told you already, we through hash function we found the bucket address. So they are all in order. If you put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. In each and every bucket, the value, the count value we have to place over here. It is for 0 bucket we have count is 2. For first bucket we have count 2. For second bucket we have count 4. For third bucket we have count 2, and fourth bucket we have count 2, and fifth bucket 4, and sixth bucket 4. Okay. The corresponding bucket content also we have to find, which is taken from hash function table. Okay. So straight away we will take it from here. There in bucket 0 we have 2 item set. Okay. One is I1, I4, that count is 1. The other one is I3, I5, that count is 1. If you see the sum of count, that will be 2. That is placed in the bucket count. The same way for bucket 1, the count, the bucket content will be I1, I5. That value will be 2. That is the count. Okay. And same way for bucket 2, okay, the content will be I2, I3 item set. That is, count will be 4. Okay. That is placed in the bucket count. Okay. The same way for I3. In I3 bucket, the item set is I2, I4. That value is 2. Then bucket 4, I2, I5. The value is 2. Then I5, the bucket, the content will be I1, I2. That value will be 4. The same way for sixth bucket, okay, the I2, I3, the value will be 4. Okay. These values were taken from hash function tables. Okay. From this we seen here minimum support count is taken 3. Okay. Now we will compare this minimum support count with these values. Okay. So the condition is the value, the bucket count must be greater than or equal to minimum support. Here we can see for 0 bucket 0 we have 2. Okay. Bucket 1 we have 2. Okay. Bucket 3 we have 2. Bucket 4 we have 2. All these values were, okay, less than minimum support. So this red color we have identified over here. All these values are less than minimum support. Why? Because minimum support is 3. So these collars must be removed. This bucket must be removed. The remaining will be taken care. Okay. So here we have bucket 2, bucket 5, and bucket 6. So drastically we reduced the process scan of the database. The advantage of this HASP technique is reduce the number of scans. Okay. And another one is remove the large candidate that cause high input output cost. This is the HASP techniques. So the final table is bucket address, okay, 2, 4 and 5 and 6, sorry, 2, 5 and 6. Okay. So the removed buckets were 0, 1, 3, 4, identified in red colors. Why? Because these values are less than minimum support. Minimum support is already we assume it is 3. Okay. So these values will be removed. We have taken only bucket 2, 5, 6. That's the final. Okay. So based on this, the L2 we have represented over here. We have written over here. Okay. So 0 bucket, no, we are not going to take. And first bucket, no, we are not going to take. And second bucket, yes, we will take. And third bucket, we won't take. Okay. And fourth bucket we won't take, and fifth bucket we will take, and sixth bucket we will take. So yes, yes. Okay. So L2, which bucket we are going to take, that is given in the L2. So this is the HASP technique. Through this HASP technique, will improve the a priori algorithms. So by reducing the number of scan. Next method is transaction reductions methods. That the transaction that does not contain any frequent k item sets cannot contain any frequent k plus 1 item set. Okay. The same thing we are going to implement over here. Okay. Therefore, such a transaction can be marked or removed from the further considerations. Here we can take the base table transaction. First table is the base table. The base table we have number of transaction. For each and every transaction we have ID T1, T2, T3, T4. These are all transaction ID. For each and every transaction ID we have item set. Okay. For example, for T1 we have I1, I2, I5. T2 we have I2, I3, I4. T3 we have I3, I4. T4 we have I1, I2, I3, I4. Okay. So like that, all the transaction we have different item sets. So this can be converted into Boolean expressions. Like you can take and the item set is given in the top, the transaction is given in the left side. Okay. So in the second table, the items are given in the top of the table. The transaction IDs are given in the left of the table. So in between we'll verify the I1 item how many times presented in T1. I2 items how many times presented in T1. I3 how many times occurred in T1. I4 how many times occurred in T1. I5 how many times occurred in T1. Okay. So that occurring will be given in the tables. For example, we can take I1 in the base table in T1 it is occurred only one time, so it is given 1. Okay. In T2 in I2 it is occurred only one time in T1, and T3 there is no T3 in I3 there is no I3 in T1, and there is no I4 in T1, and I5 is available in T1 one time, that is one is given. Okay. The same way we can see other one. I1 where it is presented in T2 transaction, no, so we are putting 0 here. I2 where it is presented in T2 or not, yes, I2 is presented in T2, so we put 1. Okay. Same way I3 also presented in T2, so we put 1. I4 also presented in T2. Okay, so we put 1. Okay, there is no I5 in T2, so we marked 0. Okay, and in the same way for T3, in T3 I1 is not presented, so we marked 0. In T3 I2 is not presented, so we marked 0. So like that. Okay, so this full table is marked. Okay. From this table you can see the sum. Okay, the sum here, if you take T1 having 3. Okay, see I1 1, I2 1 and I5 1. If you see the sum, it is coming 3. Okay, if you see the T2 sum, it is coming 3. If you see the T3 sum, it is coming 2, and T4 it is having 4. Okay, for example, in T4 I1 is having, I1 is presented, I2 presented, I3 also presented, I4 also presented. So the sum will be for T4 is 4. Now if you take transaction wise, I mean item wise, if you find the sum, T1 have 2 sum, 2. The sum of the I1 is 2. So if you compare this sum with the minimum support, it is equal. So I1 will be considered. And same way I2, okay, I2 it is presented in T1 and T2 as well as T4. So the total, the sum will be 3. If you compare this 3 with the minimum count, it is greater than minimum support, so it will be considered. The same way I3, if you take 0, 1, 1, 1, the sum will be 3. Okay, so if you take the 3, then it is greater than minimum support count, so it will be considered. Same way I4 also we are getting 3. Okay, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So I4 also will be considered. Why? Because it is greater than minimum support count too. Okay, but in case of I5 we have only 1. Okay, it is presented only in T1, so this is less than minimum support count, so the I5 will be removed. In the next table we have given clearly I5 is marked as, is colored in red, so the I5 will be removed, the remaining values will be taken. Okay, that is presented in the other table. Okay. So now we reduced the table. Okay. So next, the same way we'll find another table. It is a transaction ID and items. The base table we have taken here. Okay, from this table again we'll go for 2 item set. So initially, okay, here we have taken only one item set, I1, I2, I3, I4, I5. Now the same way we'll take two item set. Here we have taken I1, I2, I1, I3, I1, I4, and I2, I3. Okay, the second table. I am reading the second table. I2, I3, I2, I4, I3, I4. Okay, so in the second table we have taken two item sets. Okay, now we can see the combination which is present in different transactions. If you take I1, I2, okay, I1, I2, whether it is presented in T1 or not, okay, it is the base table we are going to verify. In the base table in T1 we have I1, I2. So in the second table we marked 1. So T1, in T1 I1, I2 is presented, so we marked 1. Okay, the same way, and I1, I3, I3, it is not presented in T1 with the same combinations, it is not presented in T1, so we marked 0. And I1, I4, it is not presented in T1, so we marked 0. Then I2, I3, which is not presented in T1, we marked 0. I2, I4, all, and I3, I4, both are not presented in T1, so we marked 0, 0, like that. The next one we can take from first I1 I2. We will take first again I1 I2, whether it is presented in T2 or not. No, it is not there. The same combination it must be there. I1 I2. In T2 we have only I2 I3 I4. Okay, there is no I1. So I1 I2 combination is not presented in T2, so we marked 0. Okay. The same way I1 I3 it is not presented in T2, okay, so we marked 0. Okay. So each and every time with this base table we are going to verify the placing of the item set in transactions. Okay. So with this we framed this table. Now we will see, okay, the sum of item set. So in the left side, left to right, if you take T1, okay, it is having only 1, and T2 having 3. The count I'm telling about the count, okay, and T3 having only 1, the last column only having 1, and T4 we have, okay, 1 1 1 1 1 1, almost 6 we have. But in case of item wise, if you see, the sum will be, okay, sum will be for I1 I2 we have 2, and I1 I3 we have 1, then I1 I4 we have 1, then I2 I3 we have 1, 1 1, so 2, okay, then I2 I4 we have 1 1, so sum will be 2, then I3 I4 we have sum 1 1 1, so 3 we have. So if you take this T1 and T2, it is given red colors, okay, the sum is less than the minimum support. Minimum support here we have taken 2, okay, so the minimum support count is compared with this sum of these transactions. Here we are going to remove T1. Why? Because the T1 sum is 1 and T3 sum is also 1, so both T1 and T2 will be removed. And if you see the item set, I1 I3 is 1, the sum is 1, and I1 I4 sum also 1, okay, so if you compare these 1, okay, it is less than minimum support, so these two items will also be removed. And finally we'll get the third table, left side down, third table, okay, here we have only finally T2 and T4, and the item sets are I1 I2 I2 I3 I2 I4 and I3 I4, okay, so this is the finalized one. Now here we have two transaction, the item sets are in two item set combinations we have. Next we will go for three item set combinations. When you go for three item set combinations, in first column I1 I2, okay, and the last column I3 I4, both will not be joined with any items, because of property of join operation of a priori. So we have taken the middle two columns I2 I3 I2 I4. If you join these two columns, we'll get, okay, the next table I2 I3 I4, okay. So the third table, the left side, if you join the middle two columns, we'll get the fourth column right side, the fourth column I2 I3 I4. Now we'll see I2 I3 I4 in the base table in the T1 transaction, how many times, whether it is occurred or not. It is occurred, okay. It is available in T2, okay. So we marked 1 here. The same item set I2 I3 I4, okay, it is also presented in T4 base table T4. In base table T4 ID transaction, we have I2 I3 I4 also, so here also we marked 1. This is a finalized table, reduced transaction tables, and this is the only qualified and possible item set, frequent item set, okay. So So here is the frequent item set is okay I2, I3, I4. Even if you find the sum of these items, it is 2. It is equal to minimum support. So this is only a possible one. So next method is partitioning method. It is also one of the important method. Any item set that potentially frequent in database must be frequent in at least one of the um, partition of database. The process is clearly given in the diagrams. First we will take transaction ID, then divide the transaction ID into n number of overlapping partitions. Then we have two different phases. The phase 1, in phase 1 we will take find frequent item set local to each partitions. The second one, combine results to form a global set of candidate item set. In phase 2 we have taken global frequent item set among candidates, and finally we have taken frequent item set in database. Okay. Now we will take the table. Okay. So here the data is given, it is a boolean expressions. Okay. So here is a database. This database is going to be divided into 3 partitions, and each having 2 transaction support of 20%. The 20% in the sense, okay, so if it is one item, okay, then it must be 1%. Okay, so if it is 2, then it will be 2, the count must be 2. So with this we'll see, we'll do partitions. Now there are 3, I told you there are 3 partitions. So in the partition method, the base table is divided into 3 partitions. In the partition method, the partition table, base table, we have 6 transactions: T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 and T6. So we have 6 transactions. 3 partition will take T1, T2, T3, T4 and T5, T6. If you take these 3 combination, okay, the base table will be divided into 3. So each and every time we have to be very clear about whether this value is going to satisfy the minimum support or not. That is the 20%. If it is item is 1, then the item will be that support will be 1. One time it must be presented. If it is 2, 2 times it must be presented. Here we will see how this table is converted into another form. So here in this table we have transaction ID, item set, first scan, second scan and shortlisted. In the transaction ID we have taken all transaction ID from T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 and T6. Okay. The item set, okay, we are going to take here 2. Okay, 2 item sets we have taken over here. Okay, so it is given all the item sets here, T1 to T5 we have given here. The same item sets we are going to take it over here. Okay, so I1, I5, I2, I4, I4, I5, I2, I3, I5, okay, and I2, I3, I4. Okay, this item set will be taken with the help of there's a boolean table. Okay, so here if you see this table, the I1 it is presented in T1, okay, and I5 it is presented in T1. So T1 will be I1, I5. The same way in T2, I2 is presented, I4 also presented. So T2 will be I2, I4. And in T3 you can see I4 is presented, I5 also presented. We marked 1, presented in the sense we marked 1. So if we marked 1 means it is available. Okay. In T4 transaction, okay, I2 is marked 1, okay, and I3 also marked 1. So the content of T4 will be okay I2 and I3. The content of T5 will be I5 alone. The content of T6 will be I2, I3, I4. Okay. So these data will be taken here. Item set T1 contain I1, I5. T2 contain I2, I4. T3 contain I4, I5. T4 ID contains okay I2, I3 and T5 I5 alone. T6 I2, I3 and I4. Now we'll see okay, the first scan. During the first scan we'll take T1 and T2 both will take okay. So T1 T2 in T1 T2 okay, the T1 is occurred one time and T2 is occurred one time and T4 is occurred one time and T5 is occurred one time okay. And if you find the combinations okay, and I1 I5 occurred one time and I1 I2 occurred there is no combinations and I2 I4 there is a combination, it is occurred one time, you know. So I told you we have three partitions. The first partition T1 T2, the second partition T3 T4, the third partition T5 T6 okay. So according to that the table is created okay. So here we have three partitions. The same way in the first scan we have to identify the item sets. So you can check the value of these two, value of these item sets okay. And same way for T3 T4 item set, for T3 T4 transaction okay, the item set the partitions okay in the during the first scan okay, again we have to check T2 is available here one time, the value of T2 is 1, T3 is 1 and I4 is 1, then I5 is 1, then combinations I4 I5 is 1, then I2 I3 is 1 okay. The same way T5 T6 partitions T5 T6 is a third partitions. Here we have T5 I2 I3 I4. If we combine these two okay, these two and the occurring will be counted okay. In this partition T5 here itself T5 is available only one time okay, T2 available one time, T3 available one time, T4 available sorry I5 I2 I3 I4 all the item sets are here, it is available one time, so the value is given 111 okay. And if you find the combinations so that is also given here I2 I3 okay, I2 I4 I3 I4 and I2 I3 I4 okay. So completely the combination is given. Then when you go for second scan okay, all the partitions can be merged and it can be taken as a single okay. So by combining in the results of first scan we'll be able to get the second scan okay. All three partitions item set scan first scan will be merged and we have taken for second scan. During the second scan we got some item set okay. So the duplicate items will be removed, the remaining items everything will be taken over here okay. So by merging everything we are getting the final one okay, it is second scan. Here the value okay, here the value see here it is identified white color okay. So I1 equal to 1, I1 I5 equal to 1, I4 I5 equal to 1, I2 I3 I4 equal to 1. These are all having count that is less than the minimum support okay. So here we have taken the minimum support if it is 2 transaction it must be 2, I told you is a 20%, it must be 2 okay. So when compare this count with the minimum support it is less than, it is less than value. So this white color identified item sets will be removed and the black color identified item set will be taken, that is a shortlisted item sets. So like this by doing partition methods we can reduce the transaction. Okay, there we have two different scan. Okay, first scan and second scan, and three different partitions. So initially here we have taken three different partitions, and slowly it will be merged. Okay. During first scan we have three partitions. Okay. During second scan we merged all. Okay. And from there this item so the count will be verified with minimum support. If it is less than the minimum support, then those items set will be removed and the remaining items set will be taken. That is a shortlisted item set. Okay. So these are all the three methods we have seen here to improve the a priori algorithms. Mm, by improving the a priori algorithm, we'll be able to get okay, shortlisted frequent item set mm, quickly. Okay. So we reduced the number of scan in the database. We improve the performance. Yeah, we reduce the time taken to identify the frequent item set using a priori algorithm. The same a priori algorithm is used. Here we have seen some of the methods to improve the a priori algorithm. Thank you, students. Next class we see the other next topic. Okay. Thank you.